I'm back today with some more recommendations for horror films on Amazon Prime. I know I've been doing a lot of this type of video where I recommend horror films on different streaming services, but people have been really enjoying them and I've been really enjoying making them. I think after this one or after maybe a few more, I will probably do like one every few months just because I'm going to run out of films to talk about really quickly. But hopefully the streaming services will frequently add new things on there so I can continue to recommend some underrated horror films on different streaming services. Today we are of course talking about horror films on Amazon Prime again, and I have some really good ones. I'm going to start off with a recent watch that I really enjoyed, and that is Bloodstar. A young woman is on a solo road trip and passes through a desert town. She ends up getting targeted and relentlessly harassed by a psychotic sheriff who just won't leave her alone. She has to devise a plan to escape this deadly game of cat and mouse before it's too late. Like I said, this was a recent watch for me and it was everything I was hoping for. Absolutely perfect if you also love films like Roadkill, The Hitcher, Wolf Creek and Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. It's a on-the-road horror film. It's very reminiscent of the 2000s, as we had lots of this type of horror then, so it strangely brings me a lot of comfort, reminding me of films that I grew up watching as a teen. This definitely won't be a film for everyone. There is a lot of plot holes. There are moments that make you question the main character's will to live, but by the end of the film she does show her true strong self. I really do like this type of road chase horror film as they're fast paced and the tension stays quite high. There was actually a decent amount of gore, which I wasn't expecting because there aren't that many characters at all and the gore does look really realistic. It's funny because I feel like this is the type of film that some people will watch and be like, well, that was rubbish. So I think I would only recommend it if you enjoy similar films like the ones I spoke about earlier, and if you are looking for something that is reminiscent of the 2000s. It's nothing new, it's just a good entertaining time. This film is actually a directorial debut from Lawrence Giacomelli and it's written by Victoria Taylor as her first feature film. This film was also shot in only 10 days with a 20-person crew. So if you keep that in mind whilst watching, then I would say that is very impressive. My next recommendation is The Clovehitch Killer. What seems to be the perfect family soon shatters when the eldest sibling Tyler discovers his dad's stash of disturbing photos. Is his perfect church-going dad the infamous serial killer that last struck 10 years ago, or is there more to what Tyler found than what it seems? This crime thriller horror film will keep you on your toes, but also a pretty straightforward storyline. The main characters are actually really likeable, so you will be rooting for them throughout. It's almost a slow burn, more like a slow unravelling of the story as we discover what's going on piece by piece along with the main character Tyler. It's a very emotional journey which comes to life with some incredible performances. Because we find out little things here and there throughout the film, it does mean that there isn't a big crazy ending, but the ending does just tie this film together perfectly. My next recommendation is a film called Rent a Pal. In the 1990s, a lonely man called David cares for his mother but seeks partnership, so he uses a video dating service. Whilst doing this, he stumbles upon a VHS tape called Rent a Pal. This tape is of Andy, a very charismatic man offering friendship, but David quickly becomes obsessed with Andy's video. This is a really unique film, but it is also a very sad film. We follow a really lonely man living a life that is not really ideal and very isolating. He doesn't really have anyone other than his mother, who he also has to care for. So yeah, it's very bleak. The cast were amazing. Will Wheaton actually plays Andy, the charismatic friend on the VHS tape, which is really weird to see him in a role like this because I'm so used to seeing him as a character on The Big Bang Theory, but he really does work well in this film. I definitely would say this is an underrated gem. My next recommendation is a film called K-Shop. Salah is left to run the family kebab shop alone after his father is killed by brutal drunk thugs, struggling to deal with the rowdy drunks at night until he finds a solution on how to deal with the worst customers. This is a UK horror film and they honestly have the British nightlife spot on, which is very unfortunate, and it makes me feel really embarrassed to be from the UK because what you see in this film is shocking and it really is a reflection of what some people are like on nights out. There are just so many idiots out in the UK looking for trouble. It is also hilarious to watch, especially if you're from the UK. I had to rewind when I saw a cameo nightclub. You definitely can't say some of the victims in this film didn't deserve it. It's definitely not shy on the gore. It's quite a bloodbath that is kind of hard to watch at times because it is so grotesque, but there is a deeper story as well of the struggles of the main character who deals with trying to just keep his family business is going, immigration, racism, and just a lot of hate and hateful people. Although this does delve into some more deeper and serious themes, there is a light-hearted satire tone throughout, kind of mocking or mimicking British nightlife in a very, unfortunately, accurate way. My next recommendation is a film called Meander. A woman wakes up in a tube with a countdown strapped to her wrist. She works out that every 8 minutes, fire incinerates a section of this tube, so she has to move fast through each of the tube chambers and try to find a way out. This is kind of like a stripped back version of an escape room film where there aren't that many elements, kind of like Cube but with only one person, and not as good as Cube, but I say that as somebody who really loves the Cube films. I did really enjoy this film though. It was very claustrophobic and tense. It does have quite a few plot holes and it is a bit confusing and random at times, but it is a fun and entertaining popcorn film that will have you on the edge of your seat at moments. I found it to be quite an easy watch, probably because it is all set in one location and we do mainly only follow one character. It is a little bit repetitive at times, but I do think the short run time combats that. My last recommendation is a film called Pyewacket. Following the death of her father, Leah and her mother are left with just each other in the town that her mother despises due to the memories of her lost husband. To Leah's disgust, her mother decides they need to move town, which sends Leah into a teenage rage. The practicing occultist performs a ritual on her mother, which results in summoning the Pyewacket demon. This is definitely genre bending and has layers. It looks at a mother-daughter relationship as they struggle with loss, grief, and all the emotions that come along with being a teenager. There are some really creepy scenes and some really cool visuals, especially the shots set in nature, as it really amps up the folky aspects. The cinematography is a real standout. I liked how this film makes you wonder and question what's happening at times. It leaves you needing to know what happens next. It is actually directed by Adam McDonald, who also directed Backcountry, which is a wilderness survival horror film that I have also recently spoken about and really enjoyed. So if you missed my previous video where I also talk about that film, then I suggest you also check out that one because it's also on Amazon Prime, so I'll just add that in as a little bonus. So that's all of the recommendations in this video. I really hope that I have suggested something that you haven't seen before. If you have any suggestions for underrated horror films on Amazon Prime, as always, let me know so I can add them to my watch list. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.